Hello, everybody. So I am live. I am here again. Let me do the lighting thing again. Okay. Is that good? Or should I go back to what it was? Good? Okay. So today we are here to do free agency part two, the signings and other trades that happened and analysis, stuff like that, because I did part one on the first day of free agency. So now we have a lot of other players who have been signed since then. So we're going to talk about those players today. So the first one was Dylan Brooks. Well, this is not the first one. It's just in order that I wrote it down. So it's not in any particular order. But these are the players who have been signed since the first day of free agency. If I miss somebody, I'm sorry. There are a lot of people here, or first 2 days or whatever. Um, so Dylan Brooks went to the Rockets for 4 years for $80 million. Now, I was a little confused at this signing. I guess not that Dylan Brooks was signed to the Rockets, but that they gave him a 4-year deal and at 20 million per year. Because I thought like people were saying, not okay. Some people were trying to say, "Oh, Dylan Brooks is not going to play in the NBA anymore." I didn't believe that. I thought he was going to get signed to a team. But I thought he would be going to a team on a very small contract given the situation that happened in Memphis. Not saying it was all his fault, but I'm just saying like everything that unfolded there, I thought that would make him have a smaller contract. Somehow he got a bigger contract. So good for him for there. Like, good for him to get the bag. But I'm just saying, like, I was surprised that they gave him 20 million per year because in my mind, I'm like, who else was bidding for Dylan Brooks for 20 million? Like, who was the other bidder? Like I don't know. Um, so I don't know. I'm not trying to diminish his value. I'm just saying, like, I thought 20 million, like I didn't think other teams were bidding that high for him. I don't know. I also thought the 4 years was a little long, too. It's the same thing with Fred VanVleet. Now, I thought the Fred VanVleet signing was perfect. Talked about this before. I've been saying it for a while now that Fred VanVleet should go to the Rockets, and he did. I have no complaints about that contract at all. The only thing I said is like maybe I would have done a 1+1 instead of a 3-year deal, but I didn't really have much complaints about that. So like that's fine. Um, but Dylan Brooks going to the Rockets for 4 years. Now he got even more. Obviously, he's younger than Fred VanVleet, but he got even more years on the contract. So the only thing I would say is like it was 4 years instead of like two. Again, a 1+1 in my opinion. But Dylan Brooks going to the Rockets. So that's that. Then Herb Jones got his extension, which we expected. Good for him. I'm happy for him. He's a very good player. I'm a fan of his, so I'm happy for him. He got 4 years, 56 million, and he's staying with the Pelicans. So no news there. Pelicans are, doing their thing. Then Max Struess went to the Cavs, 4 years for 63 million. Good for him. He also got the bag too. Um, I think the Cavs made the right free agency moves. Max Struess and Georgia Yang were their two signings for like toughness and for like toughness and 3-point shooting and stuff like that. And then they re-signed Karis LeVert, which I thought they should because Karis LeVert was valuable to them. And I didn't understand the rumors where people were saying they should just trade Jared Allen and Darius Garland. I'm like, you don't need to make huge moves. Your team is young. They're up and coming. This is the first time they made the playoffs post LeBron. There's no reason to go crazy. So I feel like those two signings were good signings. The 4 years, again, maybe a little long for Max Strus, in my opinion, but I don't think we should be looking at these deals necessarily in that light. Like, this is a good signing for the Cavs, bringing in George Niang, bringing in Max Strus, two good 3-point shooters. They will always be valuable in the league. So, like, if for some reason it doesn't work out with the Cavs, they could always trade those two players. So, Max Strus going to the Cavs gives them 3-point shooting, so I think that's a good fit. Then we'll talk about Grant Williams, the sign and trade that happened today. The 4-year, $54 million. He's going to the Mavs in a sign and trade. Okay, for the Mavs, this was an amazing, amazing deal for them. Grant Williams is the perfect player to add alongside your team. He does everything that they need him to do. Like, basically, what they needed was Grant Williams. They need other things too. Now, he's not the only thing, but like They needed a Grant Williams, and they got a Grant Williams. They got the Grant Williams. So it was a perfect deal for the Mavs. I think the Mavs had a really good draft and free agency. Like the Mavs, they got some pieces. Like they made some moves. They made some really good moves. So if you're a Mavs fan, I think you should be happy with the moves. Now, do I think they're a championship contender? Not really. No offense. Not really. I'm not sure this current roster will contend for a championship, but I think they're in the right direction. Like they definitely have, they have a better constructed roster around Luca and Kyrie. The question is the same as it was when they made the trade. Luca and Kyrie, I don't think it's the best fit. It wasn't the best fit after the trade deadline, but maybe this year will be different. I don't know. That's the biggest question because, like, if those two don't fit well together, regardless of who else you bring in, it's not gonna, not gonna change the outcome. Like, that's what that is. But the pieces that they have added in the draft and free agency, I think they made a good. I think they made good moves. I think they did a good job. So, if you're a Mavs fan, you should be happy. Obviously, we know Kyrie got the extension, but they kind of had to. Like whether or not you wanted him to be re-signed as a Mavs fan, they were in no position to let him go. And also, Kyrie obviously didn't have the biggest market, so it was just like two people coming together, or organization and a player coming together, and they're like, all right, this is in the best interest of both of us for now. So that's that. Then DiVincenzo going to the Knicks. 4 years for 50 million. He got the full mid-level exception from the Knicks. That's a great signing. We know DiVincenzo is a great rebounding guard, just like Josh Hart, who is a great rebounding guard slash forward. So they got two of those on their team who play really good defense. DiVincenzo plays good defense. A 40% three-point shooter. He could shoot the three. He was lights out all year with the Warriors. Not so much in the playoffs. He had a little bit of rocky playoffs, but during the regular season, he was lights out from three. So that's a really good pickup. And we know he can, I don't want to say just like play point, but he can kind of play point. Blah, blah, blah. So let's speak English. Okay. Make my words clear. He can kind of play point and he can run the offense and initiate it a little bit. Like not play point the whole game, but we saw him do it on the Warriors. Like he can play make. That's what I meant to say. He can play make. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. So he could play make and he could do a lot of good things. And you have the Villanova crew on the Knicks. You got Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and DiVincenzo. So you got the whole team. And Bridges is right there in Brooklyn. So and not the Brooklyn Bridge, Mikhail Bridges. So they're all together, the whole crew. Then you have Brooke Lopez went back to the Bucks. I don't want to say shocked because I actually thought he was going to go to the Rockets. So I thought the Rockets were going to offer him the bag, which the reports were that they were offering him the bag, like kind of what he got from the Bucks. So I guess because the Bucks kind of matched what the Rockets were offering, that's why he went there or went back rather. Like to me, because Brooke Lopez is a champion, and at this point in his career, he is 35. Like this is probably the last big contract he will get. So I didn't think the Bucks were going to offer that much. Honestly, I really didn't. So I thought he was going to go to the Rockets because I'm like, okay, the Rockets are going to offer him a really big contract, and the contract that the Bucks are going to offer isn't going to be enough to entice him to stay, given that he already won a championship. If he didn't win a championship, then maybe he would have taken less money, right? But the Bucks gave him 2 for 48. So he got 22 million a year, or 24 million a year rather. So Brook Lopez got the bag and he earned it because he's very, very important to that team and he was very good last year. So I think the Bucks made the right decision in, bringing him back because if they didn't have a better option anyway. Then D'Angelo Russell went back to the Lakers, 2 for 37. That's a fine signing. Like I think we all expected the Lakers to bring him back. It'll be interesting to see how he plays alongside Gabe Vincent since they brought in Gabe Vincent. And I would assume Gabe Vincent is starting. right? He's gonna start, I think. Maybe not, but I would assume he's starting. Maybe he's the sixth man because Dennis Schroeder is gone, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they play alongside each other. One of them has to come off the bench because Austin Reeves is not coming off the bench. So one of those two will be coming off the bench. Jock Landale also went to the Rockets, 4 years for 32 million. Um, I didn't really understand this signing because I don't know. I just felt like I don't know. It's nothing to do with Jock Landale. I didn't really understand this signing. Like I guess it was just because they had to use cap space and they had to, add someone else to the team. Again, I think Jock Landale actually did a pretty good job on the Suns last year. Every time he came in, he brings high energy. He'll play hard and stuff like that. So that's always someone you want on your team. Someone who will give you maximum effort and play hard. So it's nothing against him. I just don't know if that's I don't know. I don't know if that exactly fits what the Rockets are doing, but that's okay. Get the bag, Jock Landale. You got it. Um, Mo Wagner went back to the Magic, 2 for 16. Not really a surprise. Nothing much to say there. Just like, congratulations to him. Not much to say. Same thing with Dwight Powell back to the Mavs, 3 years for 12 million. Not much to say. Kind of expected. No news there. Jalen McDaniels going to the Raptors. I was so excited and happy for him because I am a fan of Jalen McDaniels. I feel like he's very undervalued as a player. And I just feel like he has a lot of untapped potential that he could just grow so much as a player. And we just haven't seen the best of him yet. He got 2 years, 9.25 approximately, because, I'm rounding here. 9.25 million from the Raptors. I think that's a great pickup for the Raptors and their versatile wing who could play defense and stuff like that. And he's young. And so I just feel like it was a good pickup for the Raptors. Bad loss for the Sixers, in my opinion. I can't believe they let him go. But they're like up in the air with the Harden thing. So, they're trying to figure out what they're doing there. But I don't think they should have let him go. Seth Curry went back to Dallas for like the third time, and he got 2 years, 9.25 million. Great pickup for the Mavs. Like I said, the Mavs had a very good off season and free agency and like draft in general. They had a lot of good moves. Seth Curry, we know, is a good 3-point shooter. He was good on Dallas, so not much to say, but a good pickup. Shake Milton went to the Wolves, 2 years for 10 million. I like Shake Milton. I think he's a good player. So I think it was a good pickup. Um, they Mike Conley is still under contract for either this is his last year or maybe next year his last year, something like that. Maybe it's 3 years. I think it's 2 years though, 1 or 2 years. So this is a good pickup. Shake Milton, we know can score and stuff like that. So I like this pickup for them. Troy Brown Jr., and I'm looking at my notes, by the way, because like I said, I wrote everything down. Troy Brown Jr. also went to the Wolves, 2 for 8 million, 2 years for 8 million. So, and by the way, I'm saying the full contracts. I'm not saying per year. So like the full contracts. So 2 years for 8 million, and yeah, that's a solid pickup. It's a fine pickup. Not much to say there. Russell Westbrook went back to the Clippers, 2 for 7.8 million approximately. I am happy for him that he's back with the Clippers because that was the best fit for him. Yes, it was less money than he could have gotten elsewhere, but it was the best fit for him. It really was. Like, it was just the best fit because he had a really good year last year. I feel like he fits what they want to do. I feel like they also let him be himself, but at the same time, Ty Lue is a really good coach, as we know. And like, there were times where Russ was kind of pulled from the lineup, like where he wasn't playing that well and he wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. And you didn't see Russ complaining or anything like that because I guess Ty Lue is like knows how to talk to players. I don't know. I'm not there, but Ty Lue is known as a very good coach, and we've seen what he's done with the Clippers. Every year there's injuries, and every year they're still relevant and good, even with the injuries. So Ty Lue knows how to get the best out of players, And so I'm happy that Russ is back with the Clippers. I think that's a good fit for him. Then Miles Bridges is back in the league, 1 year for 7.8 million from the Hornets. He got the qualifying offer. Not much to say. There wasn't going to be any other offer for him, most likely, anywhere. And he kind of had to accept the qualifying offer, and we'll see how this year goes for him. And then next year, we'll see if he gets a bigger contract. We'll see. Kevin Love back to Miami, 2 years for 7.5 million. That's a great, re-signing, I guess, if you want to say. That's a great re-signing for Miami. I think Kevin Love was very good in Miami. He's been good pretty much everywhere he went anyway. So always nice to have a nice veteran like Kevin Love. So that was good. Eric Gordon going to the Suns, I think was a great pickup for the Suns. 2 years for 6.5 million. Really good 3-point shooter. Will help them off the bench, give them some more offense and stuff like that. So good signing. Jeff Green went to the Rockets. That was a little surprising to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I thought necessarily he was going to stay with Denver. I didn't give it much thought, but I was kind of surprised that he went to the Rockets. But he got 1 year, 6 million. I think he'll be an awesome veteran on the team. Like he will be an awesome leader in the locker room. Him and Fred VanVleet, like those young guys, are going to learn so much and be in good hands. They're going to be in such good hands, especially with Jeff Green and Fred VanVleet too. Because like I talked about in the Fred VanVleet video, like Fred VanVleet was in the G League. He had to earn his way into the NBA and earn all these contracts that he has. Like he was not a top lottery pick or anything. So Jeff Green, because we know Jeff Green, what he's gone through in his career, and obviously now he's an NBA champion, and Fred VanVleet is also a champion. Those two players, like I think people don't exactly understand, besides the money that obviously Fred VanVleet got a bigger bag than Jeff Green, it's not just the money as to why they signed those two players. It's because they have so much young talent, and bringing in two like really good veterans like those two players could do things that you can't quantify. Like for the confidence of their players, things that they could teach them on and off the court, like the younger guys. So I feel like this was a really good pickup. All their signs were good pickups, in my opinion. Damon Lee went back to the Suns 2 for 5 million. So, good for him. He's a good 3-point shooter. Not much to say. Torrey Craig going to the Bulls, I thought was an awesome pickup for the Bulls. 2 years for 5 million. Torrey Craig is a versatile wing. He could play great defense and he could shoot three. In the playoffs, he was knocking them down left and right. So I think this is an amazing pickup for the Bulls. Very underrated signing. Thomas Bryant went to the Heat, 2 years for 5 million. I feel like that was a great pickup for the Heat too, because obviously Cody Zeller, which he's down here, he went to the Pelicans, 1 year for 3 million. But Thomas Bryant is going to be a very nice backup center to Bam for the Heat. He is someone who's had a few injuries in his career at this point, but he is eager to play because we saw in the Lakers, apparently he wanted to be traded because when AD came back, he wasn't getting consistent minutes. Well, I think on Miami, he will get consistent minutes because they will need a backup center. And so it'll be the best of both worlds. Like, he is eager to play. So I would think he would be giving maximum effort. And that's all Miami asks for. Give your maximum effort. So I think it's a win-win for them. Keita Bates-Diop went to the Suns, 2 for 5 million. Drew Eubanks went to the Suns, 2 for 5 million. They're just bolstering their bench. That's what they're doing, making bench signings and stuff like that because they don't really have any money, obviously, because all their money is tied up in their top 4 players. So they're just, adding players to come off the bench and stuff like that. Mason Plumlee went back to the Clippers, 1 year for 5 million. He is a really good backup center, so I think the Clippers did the right thing in re-signing him, and he might have been able to get more money elsewhere, honestly, but he probably likes where he is, so, that's good for him. He's back. O'Shea Brissett went to the Celtics, 2 years for 4.6. I thought that was a good pickup by the Celtics. When he had his, I don't even know if you call it a breakout season, but I actually talked about this recently in one of my videos or one of my live streams. How this might have been 2021. I forgot what year it was, but he was getting a bunch of minutes because they had so many injuries on the Pacers, and you started to see a lot of his talent and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, next year he's going to have a breakout year because he did really well in his minutes. And so I thought he would have a breakout year the next year. But then he just like fell out of the rotation. I don't know why, but he just fell out of the rotation. And he hasn't really gotten minutes since, like very inconsistently. So that is someone who has a lot of untapped potential, who I saw play quality minutes when he was in. So I feel like this is a good pickup for the Celtics, another versatile wing potentially for them, and he'll bring high energy. So that's all you can ask for. Jackson Hayes also went to the Lakers 2 years for 4.6 million. I actually didn't see this signing like until before I did this video. I didn't even know he signed to the Lakers. I didn't even see it. I was just going through and looking through, all the stuff and just making sure I had everybody. And then I saw Jackson Hayes went to the Lakers. I'm like, I didn't see that. So Jackson Hayes went to the Lakers. So the Lakers did very well in free agency. They got a little squad over there. They really do. They have a nice squad. So Lakers did good in free agency. They really did. Ty Jerome went to the Cavs, 2 years for 4.6 million. I'm happy for Ty Jerome. I've been a fan of his since UVA. That whole UVA team, that was my favorite. Okay, I'm not the biggest college basketball fan, as you guys know. I'm a gigantic NBA fan, obviously. Obviously, I'm a huge NBA fan. I'm not the biggest college basketball fan. I don't watch like a ton of college basketball. But that year, that was 2019. 2019. That UVA team, that was like my team. Like I don't know why, but that was my team. It was Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, who's on the Hawks, um, Diakite, who is on the Cavs now. Also, I think with Ty Jerome, reunited teammates. He was on the Bucks, and then I know he was on the Cavs, and I don't know if he's still on the Cavs, Diakite, but he was, so maybe he is. So teammates reunited, and then Kyle Guy was on that team. He was in the NBA a couple of years ago. He was on the Kings for a little bit, and that's one, two, three, four. I forgot who the fifth person in the starting lineup was. I don't remember. I'm sorry to that person. But like that team, they won the championship that year, the college championship, the NCAA tournament. So like I have seen Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter, them all play a lot in college. So I kind of had like a little bit of a fandom for that team. Like, I developed a little bit of fandom for the players on that team because obviously I was like following them, not even following them, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The point is like Ty Jerome is actually a very good quality point guard, and I'm happy that he got a nice contract. I think he will actually be good on the Cavs. Like I actually think he will add value to them. Like he had a lot of good moments on the Warriors this year, so I think that was a good signing by them. And Delano, autocorrect messed up his name because I was typing fast. Delano Banton, I believe that's how you pronounce the last name. I don't know why, but I don't know. Autocorrect just made it spelled really weird, so I'm trying to make sure I say it right. But Delano Banton, he's been on the Raptors for a while, so good for him. He got a nice little bag from the Celtics. 2 years, 4.2 million. Like I said, he's been on the Raptors. I think his whole career so far, and so good for him. He gets to go to the Celtics. Pat Beverly went to the Sixers, 1 year for 3 million. So that's exciting. Pat Bev is a nice pickup for them. Pat Bev, we know, brings the toughness everywhere he goes. That's his thing. So that's a good pickup for the Sixers. Alex Lynn went back to the Kings, 1 year for 3 million. I already talked about Cody Zeller. Justin Holiday went to Denver, 1 year for 3 million. I thought that was a good pickup as well for Denver, especially after losing Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. Another wing player that they could add to their team. Corey Joseph went to the Warriors, 1 year for 3 million. He is their Ty Jerome replacement, if you want to say. Like, I think they wanted to retain Ty Jerome, but then he got a bigger contract from the Cavs, and obviously being this was like his first year in the league, right? Yes, this is his first year actually in the league. So, when you get a nice contract, even though obviously it's not like a $20 million contract, but he got a bigger contract from the Cavs. So obviously he had to take it. Like it just makes sense. So Corey Joseph is being brought in kind of as that Ty Jerome replacement, their third string point guard, and someone who has had a very long NBA career. Like Corey Joseph has been in the league for quite some time. And I believe he's a champion with the Spurs in 2014, right? He won a championship with that team. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's right though. So he has been in, championship culture before. So that's a nice pickup for them, solid. Malik Beasley went to the Bucks, 1 year for 2.7 million. So they're just bringing him in. They're kind of like, I guess, replacing Wesley Matthews with him. Wesley Matthews didn't get that many minutes last year, but like that's kind of their Wesley Matthews replacement, in my opinion. So, how long have you been watching hoops? Quite a while. Quite a while. Thank you for the question. I've been watching it for a while enough that I'm the biggest NBA fan. I won't say the biggest because obviously there are other players, other people out there who are probably even bigger fans than me, but long enough to be a really huge fan. That's what I'll say. Dennis Smith Jr. went to the Nets, 1 year for 2.7 million. I am happy for him too. I feel like that is a really good place for him to go. I feel like he's a good fit on that team. So shout out to Dennis Smith Jr. Metu went to the Suns, like I said, bolstering their bench. 1 year for 2.3 million. Okogie went back to the Suns. 1 year for 2.3 million. Robin Lopez joining his brother on the Bucks. 1 year for 2.2. Mama Kelishvili went to the Spurs. 1 year for 2 million. And then Orlando Robinson went back to the Heat. 1 year for 1.8 million. So those are all the free agents, signings, trades that have happened so far. We are still waiting to find out what will happen with PJ Washington. Io DeSumo, I just got a notification that the Raptors are eyeing Io DeSumo because they're looking for more guard depth, obviously after Fred VanVleet left. So that makes sense. And that'd be a really nice pickup. So I wouldn't mind if Io, went to the Raptors because I think that's a nice fit for him as well. And then we're also waiting on Christian Wood and a couple other players who we're waiting on. Like I actually just posted a video on like the 5 best remaining free agents. Like, that's subjective, of course, what I think is the best and what other people think is the best. But 5 of the top remaining free agents. So they were Christian Wood in the video, Christian Wood, Will Barton. Trying to remember who I said. Paul Reed, who's a restricted free agent, and we'll see what happens with him. I think he's a good player. Derek Jones Jr. and who was the last one? Darius Baisley. Those were the 5 that I said. So, hello. Hi. So, thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. Now we can see, free agency take its shape. It's almost, I wouldn't say it's almost over, obviously, but like almost all of the players have been signed at this point. There are still a chunk of players who haven't, but like a big portion of players have been signed. So now it's time to like start evaluating the teams and seeing players on their new teams and what we think is going to happen next season. So this is exciting. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.